Today, we are starting yet another new city inspired by the Southern California region. Returning to the hills and the coastline closer to the San Carlos University, we find some gorgeous but also challenging terrain. From here, you can see right out across the bay for a breathtaking view. Let's call this Chula Vista. The centerpiece will be a brand new custom asset I commissioned from McWelshman, the San Diego Naval Hospital. It's time to understand the history that changed this region forever. I'm College Builder, your friendly college dean playing Cities Skylines 2. Welcome back to Marathon Cove. This is episode 27. Descanso Bay, Mesa Verde, the San Carlos University, our future downtown. Today, we are building on this open land right here. This is an important spot on the map because it sits in the middle of so much significant development. The city annexed this area in 1921 while growth was underway, and it was in 1922 that the first part of our grand hospital opened its doors on this mountaintop. Marathon Cove became an important military city following the end of World War I in 1918, so this seems like the perfect spot to place McWelshman's brand new asset, the San Diego Naval Hospital. I commissioned him to create this, and I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. The views of the harbor from this vantage point are incredible. One of the brilliant features of this asset is its 6 amazing modular upgrades, which give us the opportunity to create a sprawling medical campus. We'll follow the same layout as San Diego's original structure. While Marathon Cove grew its military operation for the Pacific Theater during the Great War, it wasn't until 1925 that the full military hospital complex was complete. The region's population growth boomed in the 1920s, and while it is hard to imagine right now, this medical center will soon be surrounded with a vibrant community. Let's just take the time to improve this intersection. We will use a roundabout to connect our intersecting roads and then delete it in order to create a supernode with one single traffic light to increase efficiency. I love the idea that our hospital has a grand entrance, but it will only work if the intersection is set up properly. With the hospital one way and the San Carlos University the other, we will have to see if the intersection can keep up with the traffic. We will use the Move It mod to stretch out the nodes here, creating a more gentle turning radius. Truthfully, we don't know what's needed to manage traffic in this area, as we have no citizens living in Chula Vista. That's because we are building the area out of chronological order. We added bike lanes along our grand hospital entrance, and now we are adding parking. But all of this is just a guess, and it may need significant adjustments as we add to our population. Let's create a district around our hospital. Given its size, it could use its own district. The last minor detail about McWelshman's asset is its ability to replace the San Diego sign with the generic city hospital sign, which we will do. This hospital is absolutely incredible and perfectly captures our Southern California aesthetic. Our Chula Vista was already a growing community during World War I and at the time of the Panama-California Exposition, which was the World's Fair held in Marathon Cove in 1918 to celebrate the opening of the Panama Canal and promote Marathon Cove as a vital port for ships heading north. We now need to create that original community of Chula Vista, which was incorporated in 1912. Let's start by creating a custom road with the Road Builder mod. We want to have grass along the sidewalks, but we also want to maintain a parking lane on each side. These local streets will therefore be just a little bit wider than the vanilla game streets to fit in both grass and parking. Let's create our residential blocks with a 128 by 88 meters grid. Starting off, we'll keep this road layout focused on the mostly flat areas, bringing it up to the water's edge and to the base of the hills. We will also avoid any unnecessary intersection too close to our main intersection, preserving the road hierarchy. Now, let's expand the grid a bit more, flattening some of the terrain near the water to reflect how the community grew over time. Chula Vista would have been a very popular place to live and raise kids just outside the downtown. But with such uneven surfaces, extensive terrain engineering was required here to make it livable. California cities are known to have extensively moved hills, filled in canyons, and flattened terrain to create residential areas. This cut-and-fill approach has been a cornerstone of California development for decades, especially in hilly regions like Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay Area, and San Diego, where usable flat land is scarce. However, we want to set a limit on how far we take this. The terrain here is beautiful, and we want to expand our city in a way that fits the environmental context. As we continue to push the boundaries of Chula Vista, we will begin moving up into the hills and force ourselves to build on challenging terrain. But first, it's time to start bringing in residents and filling out the neighborhood. This is Southern California, so let's start with the medium-density residential assets from the USA Southwest Region Pack. Some of these feel a bit historic, and others are completely contemporary. Our goal here is to create a special type of neighborhood, one that takes a very long time to create. I call this a mixed-density neighborhood. We will use the medium-density assets as our foundation. Let's then go ahead and add an elementary school before we get too far along, coloring the roof to create the impression of red tiles, just like the hospital. Next, let's add in some row houses, continuing with the idea of a mixed-density area. So many people are moving in. Let's go ahead and plop that high school. We'll continue with the row houses, adding in some from Smiley's Jelly Bean Row House Pack. And then we can place some semi-detached houses from the UK Region Pack, followed by some low-rent apartments from the Netherlands Pack. This brings us to nearly 1,500 residents. And now, here is where the fun really begins. We are going to continue on our theme of a mixed-density neighborhood by adding in low-density residential. If you track each building closely, you can see that we are mixing up a few different types of assets. We are definitely using the USA Southwest Region houses, but with those, we are placing detached houses from the UK and single-family homes of both European and North American varieties. I like some of the UK terrace housing scattered around, if we choose the right ones. Plus, the French low-density residential houses by Grunny, which give off an appropriate Mediterranean vibe. The waterfront houses from the Vanilla Game go particularly well. The European ones could easily fit in Southern California. The Eastern European Region Pack has some beautiful low-density houses. With their brightly painted facades and roofs, you get the feeling of a vibrant Southwest community. All of this is about creating the right assortment of houses, apartments, and row homes, which, incidentally, takes us to 2,000 residents. As we combine all these different housing assets, we are building out a neighborhood with mixed density. It's not all apartments, nor is it all single-family homes. Rather, the different types of density are blended together. This blending helps create an area that looks aesthetically pleasing, and not just another cookie-cutter subdivision. But it does more than that, because we are following historic development patterns. Remember, Chula Vista was incorporated in 1912, and the population boomed here and around Marathon Cove in the 1910s and 20s. During this period, Chula Vista would have been mostly single-family homes being built. By the time we get past World War II in the 1950s, we have another population boom in which developers began constructing small apartment buildings on single-family lots, particularly in the urban core and beach communities. It was during this period that Chula Vista started to see its low-density neighborhood begin to change. And remember, this little area is very close to the future downtown, an area we have not yet built. That made Chula Vista perfect for upzoning in the 1970s and 1980s. It was in this period that a number of older central neighborhoods around Marathon Cove began to increase in density. During this time of change, many older craftsman homes were torn down and replaced with multi-unit apartment and condo buildings, creating the mixed fabric we see today. Some will call this infill development. It is the broader urban planning term for building new homes like apartments or townhouses on vacant or underutilized lots within an already built-up area. We are trying to keep all of these medium-density assets small so that they are compatible with an otherwise mostly single-family house neighborhood. We will see this around the downtown area in Marathon Cove, and it is also what you will find in many neighborhoods around San Diego. This gentle density naturally bridges the gap between low-density suburbs and high-density urban cores. And in general, creating a mixed-density neighborhood is a good way to create a zone of transition in your cities. Otherwise, you are likely to see a sudden drop-off from medium to low-density areas. If you are paying attention, you will see that these blocks are starting to gain a little bit of elevation. We are moving off of the flatland and into the hills. I love this type of building challenge because it makes everything much more interesting. This is the perfect time to address the hospital, sitting on top of its high vantage point, looking down on the residents below. We have over 3,000 residents, but so much more is yet to come. People are flocking to Chula Vista, but we have not addressed death care. Fortunately, McWelshman created a San Diego-themed crematorium which matches our Naval Hospital. Let's build out the terrain so we can place the crematorium in line with the hospital buildings. Next, we'll use some amazing cliff assets by Jorsky. These can be lowered into the ground to find the right level to fit your terrain. There are a few different options, and mixing them up can help create a cliffside that looks believable. The tricky part is that the terrain underneath them shows through to the top, so you may need to move them around a bit and do some terrain adjustment to get them looking just the way you want them to. Adding the cliffs helps us see more clearly our hospital on top of the hill, separating it from the neighborhood below. It's clear they picked a prime location to build the massive Naval Hospital. With the sharp cliffs, we can also extend our residential area, building houses right up against it. Let's do a little bit more terrain work to create that differentiation and squeeze in a few more apartments and single-family homes. Next, I want to return to the parking that we built around the hospital. We used the alley parking road, but I don't think this looks quite right. Instead, let's use one-way parking roads, which we can build with the parallel tool turned on. With the parking road, we have sidewalks, and I think it all looks a bit nicer in this particular area. We will also place some bike lanes, hopefully encouraging workers to bike to the hospital. Pathways will connect the parking into the surrounding roads. And now, let's move our grid up a little bit higher. There is too much beautiful terrain for us to just build at the same elevation. We can do this gradually, sloping the terrain so that each new block increases in height. If done right, we will see the streets sloping upwards, and each subsequent block moves higher up. With these few blocks, we are getting even closer to the area that will be our future downtown. To show this, I think it's okay for us to have even more apartment buildings mixed in. It's still mixed density, but we have changed the ratio between apartments and single-family homes just a little bit. At some point in a future episode, we will see this transition continue as we get closer to the area of high-rises. By the way, if anything in this episode has been inspiring to you, please consider giving it a like and let me know what you think in the comments. The apartments we've added here are mostly from the USA Southwest Region PAC, and many of them are going right up against the hillside. I also love the USA Southwest houses with their bright red roof. They stand out and look very fitting to our development. The cliff props remove the trees when placed, so let's go back in with Anarchy on and add the trees. One thing we need to watch. We are creating a massive cul-de-sac as the neighborhood wraps around the hospital. At some point, we will need to think about the access points and make another connection, perhaps along the waterfront. Let's start to finish up the hospital and cliff area with some detailing. We'll add in more formal paths connecting the parking to the main asset. We will use one of the vanilla sand surfaces to create the pathways, and then we can add the invisible paths to make them functional. This way, we are being consistent with the surface used by the hospital. We are drawing our main paths with the pedestrian path tool, covering them with the sand surface, and then deleting the path. I find this is a helpful trick for getting the width of the paths just the way you want them. Once we finish this part, we can do some cleanup in our parking lot, adding grass and palm trees down the side. We'll also add some palm trees into the grass area, as well as a few bushes. This light vegetation helps tie everything together. We have cliffs and we have lowlands close to the water, but let's continue drawing our neighborhood by taking into account the hills. The grid size has worked for us, so let's continue to use it for now. As you can see, we have no fire coverage in this area, so let's add a small fire station. We're also missing police and postal service, so we better add those as well. We are trying to take the contours and elevation differences into account, using the environmental context as our guide. As you know, I don't mind pushing some dirt around, but generally I like to use the terrain to set limits on what we build. This just makes for a much more interesting and plausible city. After many episodes, we are finally making our way back around to San Carlos University. In case you missed it, that was episode 23. And the Southern California-themed university was also created by McWelshman. We have so much more to do in these hills to make our university truly thrive, but for today, we want to finish our mixed-density development. As we did before, let's start by placing our medium-density structures as well as some row houses. We are, of course, building our neighborhood in reverse, because historically, the single-family homes would have been here first. With all this expansion, our elementary school needs an upgrade. Adding in the expansions will give us enough capacity for now. This is one of those schools that was slowly added onto over the years as the surrounding community grew. Speaking of the community, let's return to the blocks in the valley that push up against the university. This area seems like it also would have had some mixed-density housing, but we will have it lean more towards the single-family, low-density residential homes. Since I started building this episode, Jorsky released an amazing pack of Pittsburgh-style houses. In keeping with our eclectic theme, we will mix in a few of these assets as well, and I think they look absolutely perfect. Of course, this neighborhood remains very much incomplete. We have added no commercial, which we will do in the future along our main arterial. We also need to develop the waterfront, and I have a very special asset plan for that as we make our way over towards the downtown. This will be another asset I've had commissioned to go into Marathon Cove, and I can't wait to show it to you. We need to fill the hillside with student housing around the university, and I plan to build your suggestions around Mesa Verde, so there is just so much more to do. We began this episode with 39,000 residents in Marathon Cove, and we've now hit over 42,000. In terms of population, today we took a small step, but with our hospital, we made a major medical impact on the entire region. If anything inspired you, please give the video a like or comment, and be sure to turn on notifications when you subscribe. Class dismissed.